Ladies and gents, boys and girls, To Your Point, episode 9 officially here. I'm Chris Phillips. He is Blake Ruffino. We have got a ton to discuss here on this Tuesday, June the 10th. We are just mere days away from the start of the College World Series. There's a ton to get into in not just the college baseball world, but the college sports world, the social media world, as always, everything in between. You never know what we might get into here on To Your Point. Once again, guys, appreciate you all tuning in. Make sure first you like, subscribe, turn on notifications, check us out via podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, you can also find us across all social media platforms, as well as our website, secunfiltered.com. And as always, we are powered by our friends over at FanDuel. Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, that's FanDuel.com/SECU to get $250 in bonus bets today. This is To Your Point, episode number 9. I am Chris Phillips. He is Blake Ruffino. Blake, appreciate you taking the time. And like I told you off air, my friend, I have gone from the 3 milligram life to the 6 milligram life when it comes to our friends over at Zen. So this show might get a little wacky for yours truly. I'm already feeling lightheaded. I know you have no sympathy for me, but either way, how are you? Good to see you once again.
I've been on 6s since the day I walked out of the womb. Congratulations to you are in order for becoming a man. Do you really think that a 6 in a Zen pouch was really going to keep any Kuyon down? I think that they give Zen patches to Kuyons when they need to calm them down because they're so full of piss and vinegar. Do you know how much money Zen's going to make in Omaha, by the way?
I felt like upgrading to the 6 life, Blake, just ahead of that was the proper move. It's a move I'm glad I made, and I feel like I'm giving my commencement speech right now. I'm happy to be here, happy to be on the 6 grind, and yeah, feel pretty good. So yeah, never keep a Kuyon down. Never. You never can. But if I start sweating for the folks watching, they know why.
Yeah, you're gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. Ain't no nicotine gonna take you down. And by the way, do you remember your first dip?
So I've only thrown in a dip like 3 times, but I do remember my first dip. I was like 22. I didn't dip. Like I was one of those guys. I was one of probably 3 guys on our collegiate team, baseball team. I did not dip. And once I stopped playing ball, it's funny. Like once I stopped playing college sports, there was this. I was like not everything that I didn't try, but there were things I had not tried at that point in life that I went and tried. Yeah, my first dip, I remember throwing it in. It was a Skull wintergreen or something like that. And it was fine. The reason I never got in a dip, though, Blake, I like my teeth, admittedly. I think my mom scared me off when she told me no woman wants to kiss a man that's got all that in his teeth. That was enough for me. And but the first one I threw in, I was fine. But then when I took it out, I didn't puke or anything. But the headache that ensued when I took it out was the thing I most remember. The second time I threw one in was at a NASCAR race. The third time I threw one in was St. Patrick's Day down in Savannah. And I forgive me, I forgot. The fourth time I threw one in, totally forgot this, a late night, last football season, actually, I totally forgot, in Jacksonville, Florida, the weekend of the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. That got a little weird. That was a long weekend. But my
first one was when I was 16 years old, and it was Skull Apple, the absolute worst that you could get. And unfortunately, from that day forth, I was accidentally hooked, and I've been off of dip for 1.5 years now. I do the Zens. You're right. The teeth have gotten better. But I dipped, and my wife hated it, and she's in love with Zen because you don't.
Dude, women are on Zens.
I have not seen a woman on Zen, but I wouldn't surprise me because it's just nicotine.
Come to Nashville. These women are on Zens. They are carrying Zens around in their purse. They love Zen.
Every time we talk about Nashville, I feel like the women are just impeccable. You know what I mean? Like fat asses and Zens flying around everywhere. You know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean.
Chris, what would be funny is would you or would you not marry a woman if she's got a great rear end and she has Zins in her purse? I feel like that's marriage.
Those are two green flags. It's a good start. There's more to it than that,
also,
unfortunately.
it also could be a red flag. It also could be a red flag if she got and she's not married and she's got Zins and a nice ass, why aren't you married? How crazy are you?
There's more to it, right?
There's more to it.
There's more to the story.
Yeah, you can't be packing that ass like that. Which BBL's all around, baby. But come on.
Yeah. Maybe we'll dive more into that here in a little bit. But Blake, like I told you, it is the week of the College World Series. The LSU Tigers are officially headed back to where they belong, which, by the way, you pointed out the stat, and many others have as well, but I saw you point it out, and I think it deserves acknowledging here. For those that are watching live, you see we got the baseball helmet in the background. I've got a new lid on. I was telling you off air, we've got the table cover for the live shows we're doing out in Omaha, which I'm ecstatic for.
And you should.
So it's going to be, and I'm ecstatic too, because we got two great SEC fan bases, two of the very best in LSU and Arkansas that will take over the city of Omaha, especially my beloved and your beloved Couillons down from Baton Rouge and down from the great state of Louisiana. But LSU, Blake, what is it? The last 39 years, 20 Omaha appearances.
Last 40 years, they've been to Omaha 20 times. Yep. So when I quoted
clip.
So remember in January 30th, 2025, I got ripped by Texas fans. Oh, they're not the pinnacle of college baseball. Well, then who is? Of the last 40 years, no one has been to Omaha more than LSU. No one, Chris, 20 times.
And all, 7 of those national titles, right, did come in the last 40 years, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
With 7 national titles. So when I was upset that Texas got to get LSU at home after you had played them 3 straight times in Austin, everybody thought, well, Blake Ruffino's being scared or he's making a big deal. No. Put Missouri on the road then. Put Mizzou on the road. I mean, there comes a part of, Chris, when you cover this sport as long as we have, there comes a part of, just having that acknowledgement of, wait, you mean to tell me that you're going to cater to them so much, which they won the conference and great for them. All of their tough opponents were where? And by the way, Texas. LSU went 30-5 at home this year. They beat Arkansas, who's also in Omaha, at home. So there also just comes that point in time, Chris, where I look at this and say, nobody has that. By the way, speaking of that, Jay Johnson has been to 4 trips to Omaha in the last 8 seasons, taking out the COVID season that was, out, Chris, because nobody got to play and go there. But it just comes to a point where I got ripped, and that's why I quoted it on your account saying, wait a minute, 50% of the time works. Hey, as the great movie says, 50% of the time works every time.
I don't know what's crazier. Over the last 40 years, LSU has been to Omaha 50% of the time. They have won nearly a quarter of the national titles in the last 40 years. That is truly, if I'm doing my math correctly,
7 divided by 40. Yeah.
It's not quite a quarter, but it's what, 20%?
Very close. Yeah,
20% essentially?
Yeah.
Right at about, which is, again, I don't know which of those two stats.
It's 20%, 1 out of every 5.
Yeah, which is just, it speaks for itself. It's baffling. When you think about how hard it is to get to Omaha, how hard it is to win a national championship, LSU, you wonder why LSU fans are the way they are when it comes to baseball. Well, the numbers speak for themselves. So
100%.
And I cannot wait. Like I've said all week, and I'll continue to say, last year was my first time ever in Omaha, and it was a blast. We had a great time. There were great fan bases out there. We had 4 great SEC fan bases. I'm so excited, Blake, for this trip because it's almost like I'm going to Omaha for the first time again because the surroundings will be the same. The atmosphere will be very, very, very different. The tailgating will be different. Rocco's will be different. The atmosphere inside the stadium will be different. I'm stoked, man. I mean, obviously, it's very well documented the great experiences I've had in Baton Rouge and around LSU fans, with LSU fans, starting last football season, going into this baseball season, getting a little taste of it in Hoover with our friends over at Dat Bingle Bus, now culminating in this in Omaha. I mean, I can't wait to see what it looks like. I feel like I've got this expectation
with Florida. Remember what happened in 2023 when the whole stadium was purple and gold. There was hardly nobody from Florida there.
You think Arkansas will match the crowd that LSU brings? You think
I think they will. I think they. Yeah, I think they will. I think they really want it, especially after Dave Van Horn. Is he hinting at that he's at the end of his rope here at Arkansas?
He told the Creighton coach. He said, "I'm not too far behind you when it comes." I mean, and that makes sense. He's on the back nine of his career, but yeah.
If he wins it, does he leave, or does he stick another year to figure it out and kind of give him a warning? And then
does Dave Van Horn have a farewell tour? You think, is he a farewell tour guy?
I don't know. Like I think it,
or maybe behind closed doors, like you said, he lets, because I think obviously he's going to want to leave Arkansas. I don't think he's just going to abruptly up, and I think he's going to want to set Arkansas
heard chatter. Well, you would have heard chatter
right.
if he told them that he wants to leave. He said, "I'm not far behind you."
Right.
He didn't say.
I mean, I think that's fair. What do you put it? Probably he's got 5 more years, maybe 5.
I mean, it just all depends. Like, well, again, and
he's fighting for that title. I think he's fighting for that. Once you get that, then it's like.
Well, and look, Friday night or Saturday night at 6 could easily be the national title game that nobody wants to talk about.
It very well could. I mean, I think for sure. Let's Blake. Let's start there. Dive into talk a little bit. I want to get your thoughts. The Omaha 8. This will lead us into another topic I know you and I are very passionate about that we want to get into. Which is crazy. The super regional round, by the way, it's funny. There were as many, if not more, storylines off the field than there were on the field.
Agreed.
But your impressions of the Omaha 8, isn't it ironic that after all the chatter, the SEC still has the most teams in Omaha with 2. It's still a quarter of the field. And LSU and Arkansas duking it out in that first game for the SEC Saturday night. The only shame in it is that those 2 teams are playing each other. And I think you could argue those are the 2 best teams left. But Saturday night at 6 is going to be
prime time, baby.
Epic. It's going to be epic. That crowd, that atmosphere, that it's going to feel like a football game day. But your impressions of the Omaha 8, like,
welcome back, West Coast. That's my first overall impression. UCLA.
Shout out to the old Pac-12 if it still exists.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we're just calling a spade here, I mean, Chris, listen, the West Coast used to be exceptional in what they did baseball wise, So
USC, one of the blue bloods of the sport.
USC, and like the fact that they're not being able to get back. UCLA has put out a crap load of talent. Those guys have just entered the portal and gone elsewhere. Chris, the thing about UCLA, they seat 2,200 people. Like the atmosphere is not there. And I don't know if anybody's going. Like Cal State Fullerton and their runs before they got, just demolished by the blue bloods, the real blue bloods. That's the first thing that comes out to me, right? It's just like West Coast vibe. That was the biggest thing. I think the second thing was diversity. I think we saw this a little bit more in football last year, and then now you're seeing a little bit more diversity maybe than some. But I still feel as if that you are taking teams like Arizona with a lot of experience, UCLA with a lot of experience, Murray State with a lot of experience, Arkansas and LSU with a lot of experience on the mound. I mean, Cade Anderson, Zach Root, Anthony Ianson, like Chris, all these guys. I mean, you're almost getting to a place where Anthony Ianson's pushing for 300 total innings in his career, Chris. Like that is absolutely.
And by the way, kid who started his career on the West Coast, UC San Diego.
Kid, there you go. Would that kid normally go to UCLA or USC like that? He's from San Diego, so there you go. That's a great point I didn't even think about. So I think that from the Omaha 8, it's there, and then you got the sleepers. You got Murray State that came in there, and Oh boy, I shouldn't call them the sleeper because they were a national seed. But you've already been getting hit by
Be
them.
careful. Be careful what you say about the Chants. Be careful. Just take it from somebody who knows.
Hold on. They hate you. Now, I said that they were going to give Auburn a lot of problems. I thought Auburn was more talented. I actually believe Auburn is, from an on-paper standpoint, more talented. Didn't change anything. They still won. But it comes down to the point where, did anybody have the Chanticleers going through Auburn? No, I mean, hold on. They're ripping.
Outside of Teal Nation and outside of maybe a few others.
No, D1 baseball, 11.7. You guys, myself. Everybody thought Auburn was more talented and would win it.
And they were at home, right? I mean, at Plainsville Park, first ever Super hosted at home for Auburn. That was certainly it didn't happen that way though.
I will say this about the Chanticleers, and more or less, Chris, for all of these teams, maybe outside of LSU and Arkansas, which LSU and Arkansas should and could, and LSU does this too. I think all of these teams play baseball the right way. Chanticleers, let's talk about them. Or Murray State. Chris, runners on second and third, one out. They're hitting a ground ball to the right side of the field to play to run. They play fundamentally sound, brother. I mean, it's all over the place. UCLA, Oregon State. Oregon State ran the ball out of the yard on Florida State in that last game, but did you watch the first two? I mean, that's how they were playing runs. So I think that experience in fundamental baseball, Chris, has been the talk of what has been going on here for me.
Yeah, you can try to reinvent the game all you want, but it comes down to the very essentials, the very basics. Great pitching, great defense, timely hitting, execution of the fundamentals, like you said. I mean, those are the
let me just throw this at you from an LSU perspective, okay? In 2023, LSU won the national title with guys like Tommy White, Dylan Cruz, Braden Jobert, Gavin Dugas, Trey Morgan, who's in AAA right now. So hold on. That team in a regional and super regional averaged 9.3 runs per game. 9.6, runs per game in the postseason. This LSU team's averaging 10.16. Which team is a better offense?
I think most would say the 23 team, but those numbers would tell a different story.
In 2023, you faced off against a team in Tulane that didn't have a winning record. Well, Blake, they lost to Little Rock. Same thing happened in 2023. It's the same exact thing. By the way, Grant Taylor, I don't know if you saw this. Grant Taylor got promoted to the White Sox. He would have been the number 2 guy behind Paul Skeens. They would have had Paul Skeens, Grant Taylor, and Ty Floyd in their rotation. No one was beating that. When Jay says it would have been overall the best team ever, he's not lying. Grant Taylor, again, he's been in minor league baseball for a little bit over a year coming off Tommy John. But I say that to say this. Chris, does it matter to me how you're scoring runs? So I look at these teams across college baseball. Well, when was the last time Arkansas made a run? Well, your offense is much better. I think on the mound you might not be as good as you were, but you're plating a lot more runs. You dog-walked Tennessee. So it just comes down to a part, Chris, Davalon. How many times is Davalon going to get a base hit with runners on? How many times? Iredale. How many times Iredale going to get a base hit with runners on? Chris, I feel like they're hitting 900 with runners on base. I mean, good Lord. They hadn't lost a game. I'm like, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, name of the Father and Son and the Holy Ghost of the Kuyons. Please don't let him get a hit against us. But they're doing everything fundamentally right. That's the thing that's so crazy to me, is that those teams are winning.
What's really interesting, Blake, about the bracket, you've obviously taken a look at it. I think in the bracket number 2, which is where LSU and Arkansas are, they are the clear-cut favorites. And I think, to your point, that game Saturday night, whoever wins that is on, at minimum, the high road. It's no guarantee. If this postseason starts with anything, it's no guarantee. They're on the high road, though, to make the finals. The other two are going to be UCLA and Murray State in that bracket, too. Take nothing for granted. Nothing's guaranteed, but you feel pretty good about it. Those are the clear-cut favorites. Bracket 1, Blake? Who's going to come out of the other side? I mean, you tell me. Coastal Carolina, Arizona, Oregon State, Louisville. I mean,
I might take.
Who do you look at? I feel like they're the favorite from the standpoint of name and pedigree and you know what I mean? Like they've won national titles. I don't know though, man.
Yeah, I don't know either.
What do you get out of Louisville? I don't know. What do you get out of them?
I swear to God, if Louisville goes 0-2 and the ACC's out of it in 2 games, I swear to God, I'm going to go unhinged. But that's a good question. I mean, look, Jay said this. We talked about this last week with you, that this was as wide open as it's ever been. He wasn't lying. Of course, I got to tell you this now. Hold on now. I know LSU and Arkansas is on the side of the bracket with UCLA. Don't play around with them now. I don't know how much you've seen of them. Chris, they see more pitches than anybody in baseball. You go ahead. You go in there and not throw strikes and watch what's going to happen to you. They're going to get a runner on. I think that, if I'm not mistaken, they're top 10 in walks. They're top 10 in fewest strikeouts. They're going to get a runner on. They're going to run. They're going to bunt, and they're going to play hard baseball. By the way, the all baby blues. Have you seen these? Oh my God. Yeah. They are fire.
UCLA's got one of the best color schemes in college sports.
Without a doubt. But it comes down to the fact of we look at the talent, and talent's not winning out right now. If talent went out, Auburn, UNC,
losing was the shocker of the Supers. That at home, Arizona's a good club. Don't get me wrong, but UNC. Isn't that interesting, Blake? Isn't that's what makes baseball so interesting? I guess you could throw basketball in there too, but even basketball, it feels like the cream rises to the top. But look at the 8 teams in Omaha, and then if I ask you and anybody else, even today, who are the 8 best teams in college baseball? Just give me the 8 best.
Yeah, UNC.
Would you not put North Carolina in there? You absolutely would.
UNC would have been in there. And from a talent perspective, A&M would have been in there. LSU would have been in there. Arkansas would have been in there. From a talent perspective, Tennessee would have been in there. Chris, they got 9 guys that are going to get drafted, brother. Huh?
Yeah.
They got 4 of them that are going to get drafted in the top 40 picks.
Yeah. Like a lot of first rounders on that Tennessee team.
By the way, you have the number 1 and number 2 guys on the mound for LSU who are first and third in strikeouts. By the way, Cade Anderson, poor Liam Doyle. Cade Anderson only needs like 3 strikeouts.
He's got that in the bag.
But that's my point. Like, and by the way, speaking of that, Nate Yeskie, this is the 4th team as a pitching coach he's taken to Omaha. Holy shit. If an offense or defensive coordinator did that in college football, where would they be?
Yeah. I mean, think about the storylines for LSU too. Just the potential rematches. Jay Johnson could be in the national title series against Arizona.
Oh, he wants
Nate Yeskie was at Oregon State. Yeskie was at Oregon State, I believe.
And Arizona.
And LSU could potentially get the rematch with Coastal
I
Carolina.
want Coastal. Here, I'm going to say it. I know you don't want to go there.
No, Blake, I want to go there. We can get into that because I want to get your take as a bystander. But I would love nothing more, whether it's LSU or Arkansas. I would love for the SEC to get another crack at Coastal Carolina. I will be insufferable, Blake. I will be truly, with all love and respect, I will be insufferable. Put me on another mixtape. Go right ahead. Put me on another diss track. Go CCU Sports, at Go CCU Sports. I will be insufferable if we get the SEC against Coastal in the national title.
All right, so hold on. I want to go where you were. I want the rematch because of what happened when they won it all the last time and they came through LSU to win it, okay? Just so we're all clear. They're a really good team.
They are. They spin it as well as anybody, I think, in the tournament.
As anybody. And
they got some elite arms.
Well, their bullpen, I mean, listen, I don't think Auburn, we're talking about talented teams. I mean, Ike Irish kind of looked lost. McMurray looked lost.
You think taking nothing away from Coastal, by the way, before this gets clipped, you think Auburn was kind of pressing a little bit?
I do, but I also think that, Chris, they're throwing 97-mile-an-hour fastballs low and outside on the black, and I'm like, what are you supposed to do with that, though? You know, like, I mean, that's the part for me.
That was no fluke. Coastal went in there and kicked their ass. I mean, really, just flat out beat them.
It wasn't a fluke. It was not a fluke at all, but they had no idea. Chris, McMurray swung at 3 straight changeups in the dirt. Like, I mean, like you did beat yourself some, but at the same time, it's like, damn. I mean, look, from the whole perspective, this has got to be as wide open as it's ever been. You know, like if you think about last year and you think about 2 years ago, like Chris, think of all the teams that had serious pop. I mean, Florida State is a check swing away from beating Tennessee, brother. They're a check swing away. By the way, they're a check swing away from A&M being a national title. Thank you, God. Well, I'm not going to say that. But, I mean, like, think about that. Those teams were talented, brother. Jamie Arnold and the boys. That's another team that, look, they went into Oregon State, and everybody thought that the talent was on Florida State's side. And, Chris, let's just be real. They gave up 7 runs in the first inning. And then if you think about it, too, me and you in episode 2 talked about, remember during the season, Florida State had walked in 9 runs in a game 3 and lost a series. Like, talent is one thing. Go look at where coaches are going in the portal. What does Vitello do? Now, Vitello goes out and gets talent, but he also, what gets lost is, Chris, he's bringing in a whole bunch of experience. You go get Danny Dickinson if you're LSU. You go and get Anthony Ianson if you're LSU. Experience has mattered. Hayden Schott is the poster child, or was the poster child, of going and getting experience. Chris, we got dudes from the Ivy League coming and playing in the SEC and around college baseball. Dude, what? This man's going to be a lawyer or a business admin somewhere, and he's swinging the stick. Your boy from Florida a couple of years ago, I forget the catcher's name, but he was going to work for Wells Fargo. And I'm like, my guy, what? You know, what? That's the thing to me that I think that has really carried a lot of these teams, and especially Murray State, who we don't talk about. Chris, how many times are they going to come up with big at-bats from their seniors? How many times? I mean, Duke literally couldn't. I feel like these teams could not live up to the pressure, and the teams that have been there before knew what it felt like. By the way, could you have imagined dogpiling twice?
Twice before you ever get to Omaha.
Yeah. Right. Well, and notice the only 2 teams that didn't dogpile were, right?
Arkansas and LSU.
When you've been there before, you don't dogpile.
Yeah, it's business trip. Business trip. Now, you know the expectations.
Let me tell you this. Get to a game 3 final and watch who's going to be in that hoe. I will run Jay over and kiss his ass. Okay? Like, I will be come on. But
hey, I've been getting – listen, I got a lot of good rush the field content last year. I don't know if it's frowned upon, but the credentials get us on the field. So
yeah, it will. That's the thing.
I might have to be right behind them, just jump in there real quick. Just, you know.
Well, I'm gonna leave that alone. But regardless, look, I think it makes for what is going to be, Chris, the most intriguing College World Series that I remember since NIL started. For sure. I mean, God, I don't know how you don't say that it is, man.
Blake, our friends over at FanDuel obviously have the College World Series winner odds are out. You can bet on this right now. Go to FanDuel, promo code SECU. They've got the odds out. Arkansas is the favorite to win it all at plus 200. LSU right behind them at plus 230. Those are your clear-cut favorites.
Pretty much a pick 'em.
Right? Third best odds outside of the SEC, though. Right behind them, Oregon State and Coastal, both at plus 650 to win the whole thing.
Well, basically, what's happening? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, then you got UCLA plus 850, Arizona plus 1,400, Louisville plus 1,600, and Murray State plus 3,500.
Basically, what's happening here is the best teams that they think are going to get out of either side of the bracket is cruising the top 4. Let me ask you this. This came up last night. Do you think that there should be a reshuffling once you get to Omaha? Because I don't.
No.
Okay.
No, I think you just got to let it play out. Is it unfortunate LSU Arkansas have to play? I mean, it is what it is. I think that I don't like the whole reshuffling, reseeding.
I don't either.
Just let it play out. Baseball's weird. You know, could you imagine? Listen, the beauty of the game is the randomness. You just let it play out.
Well, could you imagine if they reshuffled and people are going to be like, oh, this is SEC bias. They moved LSU and Arkansas.
We have a whole other set of problems, you know?
Right. Which, by the way, please put Louisville on my side of the bracket.
Yeah. I mean, LSU or Arkansas, if you win that first game Saturday night, you're feeling pretty damn good. You're feeling pretty damn good. We could get it twice. We could get LSU, Arkansas twice.
We're on the same wavelength. You got to beat them twice. And, hey, here's the thing. That second game is elimination.
And I was going to say, Blake, we could get it 3 times, depending on if, let's say, whichever one wins through whoever comes out of the loser's bracket. If you're able to get your get back and get them, then you got a winner take all to the final.
You ain't got to remind me about Wake Forest.
Oh, I know you've gone through every scenario in your head.
Hold on. Ask Megan, which people who are listening, Megan's my wife. During the whole Rhett Lauder, Paul Skeens debacle that I was like literally hyperventilating because I was like, oh my God.
Well, I was going to ask you, have you gotten bubble guts yet for what's coming Saturday?
I've had bubble guts since February the 1st.
This man's been in a constant state of bubble guts. They've gone through Pepto-Bismol at the Ruffino house like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, I'm drinking Pepto-Bismol like it's pink quick. You know what I mean? But no, I do get nervous. And listen, here's the thing for me. Me and you talk about this a lot. I love baseball. I grew up in it. I mean, football is my thing, okay? But my first love was baseball. And listen, man, I always get fired up, Chris, when it's college baseball, College World Series. I'm going to be glued to every single game, pitch, like everything. But, man, this is going to be – I really do think this. We're in for a dogfight. Mm-hmm. I think that all these games are going to be dogfights. I think that, like, Arizona and Coastal will be a dogfight because Arizona's got 0 quit, brother. I mean, basically that's what we saw, Chris. All those teams came from behind.
I mean, Arizona to get embarrassed essentially in game 1. What was it, like 18-2, I think was the final against UNC. They come back and win. Right. They come back and win that super in Chapel Hill. Yeah, you got to have some stones about you to pick yourself up off the mat.
And Murray State. Well, Murray State too.
And Murray State lost game 1. Yeah.
Murray State lost game 1. And think about this. Their closer came in back-to-back days and threw over 112 pitches.
It's that time of year, man.
You want to talk about having stones? That's what you call having fucking stones.
That's where legends are made. That's how legends are made.
Without a doubt.
This is the time of year.
I don't feel like I get that from football, if I'm being honest. Like, used to back in the day, we would have a back that would take 35 carries, and just go off and, like, do miraculous shit. That's like a running back getting 35 carries. No, you're
somebody putting the team on their back.
Without a doubt. Yeah. Now, I saw that 2 years ago when Jane Daniels just obliterated people. But, I mean, like, that's what makes baseball great. Sore for what? Sore for what? I mean, Chris, there comes a part, like Kane Anderson said this in the postgame. Lloyd said this in their postgame. What do you mean that I'm sore and I'm hurt and I'm all this? Lloyd said, I'm going out there he didn't say snatch your soul, but basically they're coming to snatch your soul. Chris, these dudes want money, no money. They want it more than you. I'm sorry. They want it more than you. Now, my pocketbook wants it more than them. But regardless, like these dudes, we forgot so long ago. It's all about money. It's all about this. Baseball feels more pure. Mm-hmm. That's why people are being drawn into it so much, because you're talking about kids. By the way, did you see Murray State's facilities? Everybody posting it like, oh, man, this is worse than high school stadiums. Yeah, the place that I went the last time we did the show, the Hat. Chris, the baseball field that I grew up in, brother, is better than what Murray State plays in, which, by the way, the state of Kentucky is telling you, hey, by the way, we might have a lot more better baseball than people expect because you got 2 teams in, by the way.
And shout out the Mountain Valley Conference where they came from. 3 straight years, I believe it is, the Mountain Valley Conference has had a team make it to, at minimum, the super regional round. So
yeah, and then what was it, a 3 seed and a 4 seed?
Yeah. Evansville last year took Tennessee to a game 3 and a super. Obviously, Tennessee would win and win the national title, but still took them to a game 3, winner take all. And
to be honest with you, got close.
Yeah. That game 3 was close. That game 3 was close. So. You mentioned, Blake, that you will have your eyes, you'll be glued to each and every single game. Arizona and Coastal Carolina will get us going. I will be glued to every game as well. Where I will not be for that Arizona Coastal game is in the stadium. That is my choice. That is my right. I will not that I'm worried about any tomfoolery, but that's a pretty good segue.
Outside the stadium,
well, and again, I'm fully and if you're watching this, you know. I mean, I had people texting me they're like, Chris, I can't get on Twitter without seeing C Philly in some form or fashion. Somebody talking about you, the coach. I mean, for those who may have missed it, which if you did, I don't know how, had a take on the Coastal Auburn series where what made this so interesting, Blake, is if we do like a preview and it's like I don't know, 20, 25 minute, whatever, if it's part of the wind up, so be it, where it's very like well documented where we're talking about this. Blake, this was in the midst of like a 6-hour live stream watch along. We're watching the LSU game. We were watching those Monday night winner take all regional games. And there were Coastal people just tuned. That was like hour number 2 of a 6-hour stream, just a random live stream watch on, very, very random, right? We just talk about all kinds of stuff. And those folks were glued to that. And I'm just shooting the shit with Jake McKeever and say, yeah, man, I can't wait till Auburn shoves it up their ass. They're going to beat them 2-0, like 2-game sweep on to Omaha. Fuck y'all, get out of here. And the Coastal people were tuned in. They were hate watching, I guess, because I was very, very wrong on the regional round. Thought Florida would go in there and win. They clipped that. It's making its rounds all week. Coastal does what they did to Auburn. And Blake, what ensued from that point after the final pitch was thrown in that game 2 and they win and they punch the ticket to Omaha? I still find ways to surprise myself even, because that was pretty wild. That was pretty wacky. I may or may not be the most hated man in Myrtle Beach. The Palmetto State just can't quit me, Blake. They can't quit me. They just can't quit me for whatever reason. That was pretty wild. That was, and then again, it's one thing for like, and Coastal's got a great fan base on social media. For the Go CCU Sports, the official, not the baseball account, the official Twitter account of Coastal Carolina University Sports, to have this tape ready the moment the final out is recorded. I loved it. I loved every second of it. I was actually flattered. I was like, wow, this is, and I had the SECU hat on, thankfully. Free advertising. I loved it. I loved it, Blake. Truly, I loved it. So,
yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing. Ribbing people, like we were on Oregon's, Ruffino and Joe was on Oregon's last year's diss track. And by the way, we picked them to win. They still thought it was a diss. Then I clipped it and put it up there saying, hold on, before y'all start tagging me and everything, which they did, I was like, we picked you to win the game by 2 touchdowns. We just said the first half is going to be tough against you. By the way, the game against Wisconsin was tough for a tough first half. It was the right take, by the way, but it got too personal, and that's where Twitter and Facebook and all this shit gets like too. Brother, it's a sports opinion. Like now you texted it to me when they clipped it, and I was like, oh no.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, literally my reaction on social media was my reaction. I was like, holy shit. I mean, I think that video is at like 500,000 views on their, and that's just on that Coastal Carolina sports account. It's been shared. They posted it on their Instagram, Blake. Like, it's everywhere. Right. I mean, I was getting DMs and tags and everything from Coastal people, fans of mid-major baseball, period. It didn't matter if it was East Carolina fans. There were some Southern Miss fans. Like, the Sun Belt was coming at me.
Which Southern Miss has no –
I know. But everybody wanted to pile on. Everybody wanted to get in. I agree with you, and you and I talked about it over the weekend, and I appreciate your love and support. And the personal stuff, the crossing of lines, you just get to a place where right, wrong, or indifferent, I'm so callous to it at this point. I mean, that's what makes it so funny, and kind of a nice segue into, we continue to talk about this, but a segue into the whole attack on the SEC. A lot of ACC folks felt like it was their time to pile on. And I'm like, and I had an ACC guy, and I'll just say it because who cares? Monty Taylor for College Baseball Central, who I've met in person, fine dude, does a good job. I have no issues with Monty. He ended up unfollowing me. And I'm like, dude, like you said, I never crossed that line. We're just shooting the shit, having fun. Sports is talking shit. Like baseball's chirping. Heckling is a part of baseball. Like I don't feel bad for you. You got your feelings so hurt about, you talked about Coastal or mid-major baseball, so I'm going to block you or I'm going to unfollow you because you called me out on an ACC take. Blake, this is a very selfish, personal viewpoint, but it is what it is. Blake, people are trying to cancel me off the internet on a daily basis, making up incredibly malicious, untrue rumors about my character.
Right.
Like very serious accusations. And I'm expected to just brush it off and laugh it off and be callous to it. And I am. But, brother, I have what I'm ribbing you for is sports. So you're just not going to get sympathy from me. Like if you can't handle the heat, we're not all built the same, I suppose. So, like, whatever. But, like, Blake, from my personal viewpoint, like, brother, trust me, I catch it a lot worse than you do. Like, it's one thing for you to be upset that I said, like, hey, the ACC sucks. How about that? Go read some of my mentions. Go read some of my replies. And you tell me who's dealing with it who's more in the trenches on social media. And again, I just got to laugh it off, keep it moving. I know what's true, what's not true. It's all nonsense bullshit. I got to be honest, like, if you're dumb enough to believe some of that shit you see on social media, the joke's on you. You're a complete idiot. But, yeah, I mean – listen, what Coastal did, and what did I do, Blake? I went on record. Hey, you got me. Tip the cap. We've had a lot of fun with each other. Coastal's a really good team. Gave them all their credit. Gave them their flowers. That's what it's all about. Like, we don't get every take right. I think all we ask is when you don't get a take right or you swing and you miss, especially as bad as I did, as publicly as I did, just tip the cap and give credit. That's all you got to do. It is what it is. I'll eat crow. I'm happy to eat crow because at the end of the day, Blake, we want to be right, but it's not really even about being right. It's you make a pick best you can. If you miss, it's all fun and banter and bullshit and whatever. But
right,
yeah, it's been a very interesting last few days for you boys.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing with Monty, and I have not publicly used his.
And
name.
He's not the only one, by the way. I'm singling him out, but Danny Cannell was another one.
Correct.
Because you want to talk all that shit and use hating on the SEC for clicks, and that's whatever. And I'm like, whatever, bro. I'm not hating on you for that purpose, but you want to go out there and try to shit on the SEC and use it as an opportunity. Look how overrated the SEC was. They shouldn't have got this, that. Well, Blake, as you pointed out, and as I pointed out, be there to answer the bell when Florida State gets eliminated, when North Carolina gets eliminated, when Duke gets eliminated, when Clemson gets eliminated, when NC State gets eliminated, and the SEC, Georgia Tech gets eliminated, and the SEC still has more teams in Omaha than any other conference, including the ACC. Just be there to eat crow. That's all I'm asking. Just like you can't be there shitting on the conference, and then when it backfires on you, be like petty about it and unfollowing and like, oh, fuck that guy. He fucking sucks. Like, you can be mad at me all you want, but all I'm asking is do what I did. Eat crow. That's all we're asking. Because you have to eat crow. You were wrong. You were wrong.
Well, that's the point. Is that I expect it from Danny Cannell because that's his shtick. That's his shtick. Yeah. Which is so wild. Right? Like, you're talking about a conference in baseball, which goes into a whole nother thing. Danny Cannell, literally during the Florida State game, is talking about tennis. He's tweeting about tennis. They're up 2 runs, and he's talking about tennis.
Yeah.
I mean,
or the classic today, Tuesday, or maybe it was today, where he's like, "What a great field we got in Omaha, man." Brother,
you weren't with us throwing in the pin in the midweeks.
Weren't with us throwing in the pin. And this brings up a whole other thing you and I have talked about is Blake, it is the College World Series is here. Postseason baseball has been here for a few weeks.
This bugs the shit out of me.
It is, and this is with all love and due respect to some people that we are friends with in the industry. Maybe some others that we're not as well acquainted with, but definitely some that we're friends with in the industry. And I get it. Everybody's looking for content. Everybody wants to be involved this time of year. But Blake, we have officially entered fair weather college baseball media season. Brother. And this alone is why, Blake, like people that know me know, like I like college basketball. I don't love it, but we're going to cover it from start to finish. You know why? Because I don't want to be labeled the guy who it's the week of March Madness. And I'm like, all right, let's start talking college basketball. It's like, brother, where have you been all season? What are you,
right?
You're not a basketball guy. Like, even if I'm not a basketball guy, we're going to cover it and talk about it and at least be like, we have been here from the jump. You got a lot of people that now they haven't talked college baseball all season, and now they want to start having like bold takes on it. It's like whatever, do you? But it's like, again, where were you in that midweek back in late February? Where were you in non-conference play? Hell, where were you in conference play back in March and early April? And you were nowhere to be found. So,
you're nowhere to be found, and you don't know the players' names.
And now I think probably what irks me a little bit, but I know what irks you probably is it's not just you're talking about it. You're talking about it as if you are the authority on it.
That's what bugs me more than anything. Is like, listen, we have been here since you and I talking college baseball since
before the season, January. Yeah.
January the 30th. And we talked about all 16 teams in the SEC, where we think they're going to be, what they're going to do, and all this kind of stuff. And then it's just kind of like, I shouldn't be mad about this. It shouldn't bother the shit out of me, but it bugs the outright shit out of me because I'm like, listen, man, like you have not followed the sport all year. Like,
can we make a new rule? If you didn't talk about college baseball before the temperature hits 70 degrees, you're out. You don't get to enjoy the baseball 70 degrees and higher. If you weren't there when it was 45 degrees in Jacksonville at the tournament where it was Bama, Coastal, Ohio State, and who was the other one? Who was the other team? I honestly forget. Either way, the Jacksonville or like the midweek against Northwestern State, if you're LSU, sit it out.
Just talk about the Round Rock Classic. Talk about what happened in Houston. I got a great idea. Have a 10-minute segment every week of you talking about college baseball. Bring somebody on and then be done with it. But it's just like because you don't have content and there's nothing going on and you can only talk about college football and NFL for so long, for right now, you got to go to college baseball. And nobody really wants to talk about Major League Baseball, mainly due to the fact that because, Chris, we're not even close to being halfway through. We're not even close. The Braves could go on a run and win the World Series. We don't know.
From your lips to God's ears, Blake.
Well, they're not going to, but
no.
I mean, they blew a 7-run lead in the ninth. Good Lord. But it just comes down to a part where, like, it should not bother me, but it does. And I'm not saying the guy Monty because he looks like he covers college baseball.
Oh, he does. No, he was there in Jacksonville. He was there in Jacksonville. But
it comes to a point in time though for him. And Danny Cannell is Danny Cannell. I expect that from him. But you represent a conference and you're shitting on the SEC when you just got your cheeks clapped. Brother, Kentucky eliminated a national seed. And before you say that, well, Clemson maybe should have not been there, then you're validating the point that a team that went 13-17 in the league eliminated you. Florida State and Oregon State, well, Chris, Oregon State was an 8 seed. Florida State was a 9 seed. You got blown out. You got blown out. It's not like that you lost a 1-run game. Duke lost to Murray State. And I understand Murray State came through the Ole Miss Regional. They did the same thing to the ACC or SEC. Ole Miss beat Georgia Tech, who was your conference champion. Your conference champion. The number 2 and number 3 SEC teams are in Omaha. Arkansas,
Oklahoma was a game away from beating UNC at their place.
Right. And then Arizona beats them. It just comes down to the fact of that, like, It pisses me off so much sometimes that you walked out there and said the SEC shouldn't have gotten 13 teams in. Brother, you shouldn't have gotten 5. Right? I mean, and hold on.
Hey, I mean, Mississippi State beat Florida State, if I recall correctly. Or took him to the wire, I should say. Took him to the wire. Didn't beat him. Took him to the wire.
Well, hold on. Stay with me here. We are in the era of equality. College sports, we're in the era of what makes everything equal. Everybody wants things to be equal. Well, cool. Omaha is going to determine that. The playoffs are determining that. But in the sense of equality to the ACC, what have you done? What have you done? And then it brings me to my whole other point when it comes to sports. You want and listen, there are people in college football, as an example, whose opinions I really, really value, that I think that they're elite at their jobs. There are things that we disagree with. You want an all AQ model in the college football playoff. I beg your pardon? I beg your pardon. You mean to tell me that SMU last year went through the same thing that Bama did, the same thing that South Carolina did, the same thing that all these different teams did? The conference champion in the ACC lost to Texas, South Carolina, and Georgia. And you're trying to sit here and say to me that we deserve a spot at the table. You know what Omaha does? Everybody's got the same qualification. Win your conference tournament, and you know for 100% certainty you'll be in. Everybody's got the same regulation. RPI doesn't matter. Strength of schedule doesn't matter. None of that matters. Win that tournament, you're guaranteed a spot. Sounds good. And then everything else, Chris, is at large. Texas technically didn't have to be in because they didn't win the conference tournament. Now they're going to be in because of who they were. But everything else is at large. Everything in a 64-team field. So I look at this and say, ACC, you talked all that shit, and then you got your ass beat on the field, and then you don't even want to. Here's the thing that pisses me off. They're like the guy Monty. You're not even trying to defend the point after you shit on a conference.
You're not even willing to, because again, like I said, I don't know, and I doubt that Monty will listen to this. I'm going to see him in Omaha. I got zero problem with the guy. It was fun ribbing after, because like I told you, Blake, I was like, if Duke loses to Murray State tonight, I'm going in. So I posted a clip. I mentioned him, and then I even tweeted after. I said, can't wait to see the next tweets from Monty and Danny Cannell. I said, let's hear it, fellas. And then I catch the unfollow. And I'm like, brother, you can't even have like discourse and banter over this. Like, then don't have the take in the first place. If you're not willing to have discourse and banter, and all you're willing to say is, there's a lot of people that don't follow me that are SEC homers that are salty in the comments.
Well, you made them salty.
Well, when you made them salty and then you even got proven wrong, you got to be able to come back and follow it up. You have to. You have to. Because the next time time you have a take, it's just invalid. It's invalid because it's like at the first sign of opposition or maybe you being wrong, you are going to shut down.
Well,
and that's what happened.
It comes down to a part two when if you're going to have a hot take, okay, and you're going to say what you're going to say, and then you're going to back off and say y'all are being salty, then what were you being when you posted it in the first place? What were you being?
Blake, I just, you're not going to get any semblance of sympathy from me. Because like I said, look at what I dealt with after I didn't even say like, man, the Sun Belt. I didn't even say Coastal sucked. I just said Auburn was going to shove it up their ass. That was an incorrect pick. Look at the wrath I caught on social media. Right. And I still was able to come back. And my first thought was, Blake, it was actually that game ended. I was sitting there eating crawfish. Shout out Gumbo Bros in Nashville. Fantastic establishment founded by 2 LSU grads, by the way. We've been in talks, might be doing something live on location at some point with those guys. I would love to. Maybe if and when LSU wins it all, maybe we go to Gumbo Bros to celebrate. They won't have crawfish anymore, unfortunately. We'll be out of season, but they'll have something else. But either way, like my first thought was like, all right, I got to show face. A tweet's not good enough. I got to put my face on it, put my voice behind it. I'm going to catch shit, but you know what? I'm going to be the bigger man, and I'm not trying to pump myself up here, but it's just like, I got to take ownership of this. I got to take ownership of this. That's all you're really asking. That's all we're really asking. So to go radio silent and then like, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry at all. But if you get so butthurt over a rebuttal to a sports opinion with another sports opinion, no matter how, like, obviously I was having fun. I was kind of trolling a little bit, like talking shit, which is, it's Twitter.
I went full in.
That's what we do. Blake, if you're a fan account and you're tweeting nonsense, that's one thing, whatever. Burners especially, we have no expectations. It's the lowest level denominator of human being. It is complete scum of the earth for the most part.
Right.
If you are going to pride yourself on being a respected member of the media, or you don't want to use the word media, a respected member of the community that talks this for a living, if your first move is to unfollow someone, which maybe people will say I'm making a big deal of that, but I mean, Blake, it is what it is. Like, what are we in high school? Like, is this when Megan Maroney and Ella Langley unfollowed each other because they both screwed Riley Green? Like, are we really that's a goofball move to me, dude. That's a goofball move. And I've talked about this before, Blake. In the college football media space, I agree with you. There's a lot of guys that you value their opinion, respect them, phenomenal at their jobs. But I've noticed there's especially when you're independent, there's like a big league feeling to some of the college football media. There's a very much like, oh yeah, you got to earn your, you know what I'm talking about. Got to earn your stripes. Like, there's a big league feeling. College baseball doesn't have that as much, but you know what college baseball, the media space, the community has maybe more than the college football space? Pettiness. There is a pettiness in the college baseball space. Like, I haven't even mentioned some others that like unfollowed me or were talking shit or whatever. An entity that you actually mentioned, an entity you mentioned. And I love those guys, but I mean, 11.7, they're another one. I look and I'm like, I'm talking to my guy, Ben Upton, who I'm buddies with. I'm like, dude, I mean, I was like, damn, like, I mean, I know I was talking a little shit on the Coastal and some mid-major stuff, but damn, I got the unfollow from the main account. Like, damn, like, you and I have been tight for a while. And he's like, yeah, my co-host Dimitri, he got pissed at something you said, unfollowed you. And so what did I do? What any grown man would do. I texted Dimitri and was like, brother, I respect the hell out of you, but damn, like, unfollow me because a take you don't like. Dude, you got my number. But there's a pettiness in that space that I don't know you even get in the college football space. It's so interesting. Like, and I'm not like sitting here trying to call anybody out, but this is what a mature adult would do, is talk about it, would bring it to the forefront. Again,
you got to talk about sports.
I've always believed it was the point I made about Kevin Schnall, and people disagree with me. That's totally fine. He stood up for what he thought was right. That's fine. But Blake, if you go on social media and say something, I don't like it, you and I have a relationship. We have a tighter relationship than most, but we have a relationship. If it was something that really irked me, I'm not talking about something I was like, well, I disagree. Like, it pissed me off. Like, I would text you, I would call you, we would hash it out. What I wouldn't do is try to put you on blast on social media as my first means or unfollow you, because I actually respect you. I respect you as a person, as a friend, as just someone in the space. If your first move is to do what I just mentioned, the unfollowing and the distancing from, and you're just a goofball, man. Like, that's a hater ass move, pettiness. You never really had respect for me in the first place. That's just my take. You can disagree with that, but that's how I operate. Like,
well, hold on, pause. We posted pictures and videos of one another of everybody mowing with me. Why are we taking everything so seriously?
Right. On Twitter, which is the most non-real life place on planet Earth.
What's your Twitter at? But
what's your Twitter at? Yeah.
The only time that I followed a media member and unfollowed them, which things seem at the current moment to have kind of calmed itself down between me and a Texas school rival, was when he told people to stop watching our content. Now,
and that's crossing a line. That's crossing a line.
Now that's crossing a line.
Taking food out of not your mouth, not your wife's mouth, your kid's mouth. That's fucked up. That's fucked up.
By the way, when you have a shitload, don't come at somebody like that when you have a shitload of skeletons yourself. Nobody's clean. Nobody. Everybody's got their own little problem. And Chris, if there's one thing that my past job taught me, investigate somebody and you're going to find out their shit, who they really are. People all have their struggles. Wait a minute. You unfollowed me because I hurt your feelings on sports. Do you understand how many times LSU has lost and Brian Kelly's been up there and said whatever, and people I respect, text, have conversations with, am I supposed to get pissed off because they said that he's underperforming? Or how about this? Are they right? Can we take a second to ask if somebody's opinion is right other than you being in your feelings? That's the thing for me. And we talked about like the casual baseball fan. Brother, like some of the takes that are out there, do you know how many times I read a take and I'm like, this pisses me off? I text them to you like, what? What did this guy just say? What did this guy just say? We had a whole conversation about it. But like, for an example, talking about our good friends over, our good friends, but the guys over 11.7, they came after me and I went back after them. Remember, they picked West Virginia to beat, or Ben picked West Virginia. I didn't get mad. I just went to him on Twitter and says, the Bayou is noticing. I didn't say that they get their Kuyon cards taken, which they have officially been taken. But don't come down here. Like, here's my thing. From a national media perspective, don't come down here when it's comfortable for you and then start talking shit about them when you're not around. Like a program. Oh, you're going to pick West Virginia? Fine. Well, then don't come back. Don't come back then. And there also comes the part where I told them that LSU won't be a 7 seed. I told them the exact same thing that I told you.
Sure enough.
Remember when Arizona was supposed to be in LSU's regional and Miami was supposed
Miami. Yeah.
Could you have imagined that regional? Now that you talk about Miami a game away from winning and getting to Omaha, Arizona in Omaha. Think about that. Think about that conversation that we just had there. So anyway, if I'll give a prime example. I love Joel Klatt. People hate him. I love him to death. Never big league me. Asked him an opinion. We had some scheduling conflicts. Love him to death. Don't agree with anything he says. There's not one thing that I agree with him on, really, ever. Dude's never big leagued. We asked him. We had a scheduling conflict because of me. What even him? He was like, hey, man, I completely understand. Here we go. Fine. But we don't agree on anything. So
wild that people can just disagree and live in harmony.
Dude, that's how like me and Pate got together. I'm like, brother, I didn't understand the power rankings. Then he comes on and we have a conversation about it. Like, what is this ranking? You're putting it as a ranking. And he goes, no, it's
and even if you still disagree, it's like I respectfully disagree and I respect your opinion and we're all good. It is what it is.
There's nobody in the on-field college space that I trust more who's seeing what I'm seeing. If I'm being honest, doesn't mean we don't disagree. So again, to the ACC fanboys, y'all got y'all's cheeks cut, dog. I mean,
like you said, don't let Louisville go 2-Q now. Don't let Louisville go 2-Q now.
No, it better not happen. But listen, people in the SEC during football season wore their SEC had a down year on the chin.
Yeah.
They wore it. And then nobody why didn't y'all want to talk about that during basketball season, by the way? So then you found a way to talk about a baseball season and you got your cheeks clapped. I mean, the former Pac-12 is better than you in baseball. There you go. There you go. How about that? How about them apples?
Yeah, more teams in Omaha. Yeah. I'll say this back to something you said, Blake. Like I still got no love for those 11.7 guys. I'm tight with Ben. I got no ill will to Dimitri. That's why I texted him and said, man, I respect the hell out of you. Like, you know, I just, that's why I don't get it from the standpoint of like just the pettiness over sports takes. I mean, I don't get it, man. And like you said, everybody's got their stuff. Some people's is more legitimate than others. And I'll just leave it at that. I mean, you can say something about me as many times in the replies as you want to. It doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it valid. It is completely false and complete nonsense and bullshit. And if you think it's not, you're going to have to hit me more with more than a burner saying something or doctored screenshots or petty and upset and disgruntled South Carolina fans or South Carolina burners trying to accuse me of something. Like, hit me with some hard proof if you think that's a legitimate thing. If not, just leave the conversation because it's bullshit. But whatever. People can say anything on the internet. There's nothing I can do about it. It is what it is. I'll bank on my character, those I've met, those I've interacted with for years. And listen, Blake, I'm a big believer. Ball don't lie, brother. If anything, people say it, not everybody, but, and I don't want to bring too much light to it, but people probably see a lot of the replies and stuff. Like, if anything, the attacks on my character were true, we wouldn't be where we are. It's no, like, we wouldn't. Exactly. It's no secret. We wouldn't be. I wouldn't have the network I have. We wouldn't be doing the things we're doing. We wouldn't be going to Omaha and having 3 live on location shows at 3 great establishments with great people and great businesses. They wouldn't partner up with us. We wouldn't be partnered with FanDuel and Game Time, and business wouldn't continue to escalate and succeed and elevate. It wouldn't happen. So, like, really try to do the math in your head. But you're trying to. But Blake, at the end of the day, what we're doing right now is having a logical conversation. Are you going? You're not going to have a logical conversation with people who are deranged psychotics, which is not what all of social media is, but that bottom 10% or so, it's truly deranged lunatics.
And it doesn't also mean that a conversation can't get heated. Mm-hmm. If I'm passionate about something, me and my co-host yell at each other. But you don't cross a personal line to try to demean
and if
one's
we
opinion
do, we're picking with one another. We're just joshing around.
Right.
Like, come on, dude. Like, why are we taking this shit so seriously?
No. And again, like, I don't take myself too seriously. I mean, folks, do you think Blake and I take ourselves too seriously when everybody moan with me? Like, no, I don't think so.
That time, but I'm flipping your ass. You just got. You did it.
Just got.
So now you got me. But like even when you did that, Chris, why would I care about that? People were making fun of me. Oh well, who gives a flying fuck?
Yeah.
Like, I made it a joke. It is a joke.
Yeah. But what's not a joke? What's not a joke is those ACC takes were atrocious. And again, all I'm asking for, like, I'll tell you this, brother. If you can't stand on that take days later when it blows up in your face and your first move is to unfollow someone and be petty and get all in your feels, Blake, maybe you're not cut out for this.
Maybe you're not.
Maybe you're not. Maybe you're not cut out for this space because, brother, the heat's only getting turned up going to Omaha.
Without a doubt, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, the heat's only getting turned up. So
right,
the SEC leading the way, 2 teams in Omaha. I mean, I was giddy, and I picked Duke to win that series. I picked Duke as a preseason Omaha 8, but after the weekend, I said, "Shit, let's go Murray State. Let's go, baby.
Let's go Racers.
Hell yeah, let's race to Omaha."
It was a win-win for you either way, but glad
win.
Yeah,
win-win either way.
Well, it's gonna be very fun. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, especially with those fan bases there. I'm fully prepared to get chirped. Like, it's going to be a very interesting, very interesting time in Omaha for you, boy. A lot of fun. I'm excited because I got the Hogs and Couillons on my side. So, I mean, if you want to try some
here's
go right ahead.
The real truth. I will respect the people that, like, when we were at the baseball game, who remember the guy when we're eating crawfish. He's like, I don't agree with anything he says. I'm like, what's your Twitter at?
What is it you don't agree with? Let's hash it out. Because you know what happens in most, I'm sure I know it's happened to you. What happens in most of those times when you have those encounters in person, dude, I had it when I was in the South Carolina space. I've had it since the SEC Unfiltered, since we launched and everything. And I know you've had it. These people, they want to hate you and then you have a conversation with them like, man, I hate that I like you, dude. I hate how much I like you. And
well, it's like
it happens every time. Happens every time.
The conversation we had. He goes, I don't agree with him. And so I asked him, what do you not agree with? Well, you're too hard on the football team. What part of 8-4 was I too hard on? And then he didn't say anything. What part was I wrong on? You can be mad because I'm hurting your feelings, but the truth is the truth. Yeah, I told you when we went out there, hey man, can I get a picture? What's your Twitter at? First comment. Dude's talking shit. No way, dude. No way.
And we knew who it was. We knew who it was.
Right. Well, which I was asking everybody, what's your Twitter at? Go up to Mikey Mato. What's your Twitter at?
Yeah, you got Goofy sending collab requests on IG, and they want to talk shit about you on the Twitter app.
With Jesus One t-shirts on.
Right. Again, the pettiness in the space is.
How you gonna be 10 feet away from us and not say shit? By the way.
Oh, I don't doubt that's going to happen in Omaha to me. I do not, Blake. I don't doubt that. If you see a Coastal Carolina account post a picture of me, I do not be surprised. I will not be surprised at that. I will not be surprised at that. Not in the slightest. And it just is what it is, and you got to keep it moving and whatever. It's social media makes cowards of, or makes heroes of cowards. It really truly does.
Without a doubt.
And again, we spent time on this. There are way more awesome fans and people that want to have discourse and banter on sports, and that's why we're able to do what we do. But nobody else brings light to this, Blake. I think that's why it's fun and important that we do, because it's just nobody talks about it and calls it out and has discourse on it. And it's just, right. But especially, and again, we're not even really talking. We brought up the burner thing, but again, Danny Cannell, Monty Taylor, some others, got nothing but love for you. Got nothing but respect for you. No ill will. But damn it, if you're going to say the ACC's or the SEC's overrated and they're this, they're that, and you want to use it as an opportunity to pump up the ACC, when those teams get eliminated, I'm going to need you to come back around and follow up.
Right.
Don't go
you can't get your pound of flesh and expect that I don't come and get mine. Like, for example, in a fight.
That's all you ask. That's all you ask for, really.
I'll never forget. My granddad told me something like, Blake, if you punch somebody, you better expect them to throw a punch right back to you. So if you're going to go, you better go and bring your whole ass with you. And it's the truth. If you're going to throw a punch, you got to expect another punch coming your way.
And again, it's not even personal. It's just sports.
I ain't going to lie. It got a little personal for me. I ain't going to lie. It got a little personal for me. In reference to, I didn't say anything personal about them, but it got personal in the fact of, like, hey, man, I know that you haven't watched this because of the fact of what you're saying. There's no way that you can watch Kentucky beat the dog shit out of Clemson and say that you watched. None.
Well, with those fair weather college baseball media guys, again, no ill will towards them, whatever. I just.
Hey, how about this? Me and you both took our businesses full time. Why don't you ask questions and make friends instead of constantly making enemies?
Put some respect on the name. That's it. I mean, I agree. I've always been fascinated in the space since I started, but especially when I went full time in his business again, year after year after year. Same with you. Continued to elevate, grow. Listen, you can dislike somebody. You can dislike their style of doing things, their method. But if somebody's out there at the place you want to be, why would you burn that bridge, even if you don't like them?
Right.
Why are you going to make an enemy of someone in that place? Why would you do that? What did you gain? What did you gain out of that?
Nothing. You lost people.
You lost well more than you gained.
Right. I mean, you didn't. The ACC people didn't follow you based off of it.
No.
So. No. Anyway,
like I said, Blake, it was there were as many. I would say there were probably more storylines actually off the field of play over the super regional weekend, which was wild. Which was wild. I do want to get your take on this because we could spend all day on the media space. But switching gears I didn't even have this in our notes. Speaking of the off the field storylines, did you see what Chipper Jones and Jeff Francoeur had to say about the state of college baseball?
I did. So,
and I'll tell you this: it hurts my Braves' heart to see people going after Chipper Jones, but he subjected himself to it.
I've told you this before, and I'll say it again, just so that we're all clear. I don't know if I disagree with the message and everything that Chipper said. I fully disagree with the messenger. Because, brother, hadn't you had like 4 wives and you cheated on them and you got in a lot of legal troubles and you got in a lot of problems? And I understand that you're like on the field, you did that. Didn't you play with a guy named John Rocker? What did you fight John Rocker in the locker room when he would run out full sprint slide and start talking shit to people and telling them that he was going to eat their firstborn? Like, that's a legitimate story that happened. So it also, did you fight John Rocker in the locker room? Yes or no? That's what I want. And listen, I mean that. I really mean that. So you had a teammate that literally would throw at the heads of people, and did you do anything about it? That he would chirp when he would strike them out. Did you do anything about it? Chris, if Tony Gwynn, God rest his soul, would have said it, by all means, fine. If Derek Jeter would have said it, by all means, fine. Chipper was not the one to bring this up, brother. I'm sorry. I know you're a Braves guy and you love Chipper. He's not the right messenger for this job.
Well, and there was a way, you respect his opinion. He's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer. But you could have given credit to the people you wanted to give credit to without taking swings at the other teams and coaches and fan bases. And you know what I mean? Like he could have just said, man, I really love the way Kevin Schnall coaches, the way Coastal, they play the game the right way. They gained a fan in me. But he didn't just say that. He went on record and said, and again, we're obviously paraphrasing, but you've probably seen it by now, understand his sentiment. I'm seeing guys flip bats and cuss out field crews and like, this is disgusting. And I mean, again, I love Chipper, but at the same time, I mean, are we going to sit here and pretend everything was perfect with the way the guys handled themselves in the 90s and early 2000s? I mean,
Chris, they were throwing
it. It wasn't.
Well, that's why I bring up John Rocker. It's exactly why I bring him up. Did you fight him for playing the game the wrong way? Yes or no? Basically, you're talking about Liam Doyle in Tennessee. Let's call it what it is. Okay. You had a teammate that did that. Hello. Like, did you do it? I mean, I fully mean this. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but he who hath no sin cast the first stone. Did you get John Rocker kicked off your team? Did they trade him because of you? Did he go to the Astros because of you? Those are the things. And by the way, I actually remember you getting into some shit. Did you ever charge the mound? Oh, wait. I mean, you're speaking from an era where one of the most glorified moments of that era is when
Nolan
Pedro.
Ryan.
Well, but I'm thinking like Pedro Martinez throwing. What was the Yankees assistant coach name? Old bald head guy. Throwing him to the ground. He is a senior citizen. Throwing him to the ground.
Hold on.
In that Yankees-Red Sox brawl.
Yeah, hold on. Don Zimmer. That's
Don
it.
Zimmer. There you go. So, love Chipper to death. Listen, I've been right there with him and said that, hey, all I said was, let's let the game police itself. And if, some of these guys thought they might catch one up and in or catch one at their head, not even hit them, just in that general vicinity, catch one in the ear hole, this would correct itself. You may not have as much of that. That's all I said. But, I don't think it's ever really received well, Blake, as much as we love these these legends, these Hall of Famers, but these former big leaguers from the 90s, early 2000s that is it ever really good in any sport where the old heads come out and they want to criticize the game of today and say how much better it was when they played and we did this, this, and that. How dare they do this, this, and that? And yes, the game today is imperfect, but I don't feel like that ever really hits. I just because then you're insinuating that everything was perfect when you played. It's it wasn't. It wasn't.
We know it wasn't.
Well, and here's the thing. Like, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Chipper Jones like marry a porn star? Like, when it Taylor Higgins?
I know he married a Hooters waitress. That was the.
Well, he also, if I'm not mistaken, like there was a Playboy girl, if I remember, like,
I don't recall that, but I mean, I don't. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know he was married 4 times. I didn't know that either. I didn't keep up. I haven't kept up with Chipper's.
Times. I mean,
I haven't kept up with Chipper's personal life to that degree.
Well,
or just not as familiar with it.
Well, he got in some shit. You know, like again, it's like what we talk. I'm going to be the same in the sense of I don't have any sympathy for any of these head football coaches when you're talking about the portal and money when you're out there doing it. I have no sympathy for Chipper when you were involved in all this same shit. Like, brother, over 1.5 million people watched game 2 of LSU. 1.5 million people watched Arkansas and Tennessee in game 2. Like, what are you talking about? And here's the thing. He never played college baseball. Now, are some things egregious? Yes. Do I agree with him on the Tennessee part of some things being egregious? Didn't your teammate get in a fight and you were a part of it during the game? At least Liam Doyle shoved a guy. He didn't fight him. So there comes a part in time where
we haven't had bench clearing brawls in college baseball yet.
Not really like that.
No. Not like guys. I mean, Blake, I forget what year this was. It may have been like 2010 or past the early 2000s. But like I recall one time the Reds getting in a scuffle, and I remember one of the images was the guy was pinned up against the net, and he is kicking with his cleats on, like kicking guys.
Dude, do you not remember a couple years ago when Jose Ramirez and Tim Anderson got in a fight?
Oh, yeah, straight up knocked him out. Yeah,
knocked him out. I mean, what do we remember when Bryce Harper ran and threw his helmet and then got a 1-2 with a soda and came with the overhand right? He should have hit the jab and then uppercut, but then he's going with the overhand. You leave that face open with the overhand, brother. But again, the Jeff Francoeur thing, he was basically saying, "What are we doing?" Yeah, I'm going to leave alone. I'm going to leave the Jeff Francoeur thing alone.
Well, and another interesting dynamic, my guy Harrison Fant obviously lives in Atlanta, huge Braves fan, worked for the Braves on their trophy tour at one point. I mean, he's just really tied to the Braves. He watches a lot more than I do. Apparently, like it's been a thing for years where Jeff Francoeur has been dude, Ronald Acuna is the face of that franchise. But even Jeff Francoeur has been very critical of Ronald Acuna's antics. So Francoeur is a very straight-laced, like he doesn't want any type of anything. I don't know. There's kind of a weird dynamic there, I think, with Francoeur. So I don't know. I mean, it's just
weird. It's
weird. Yeah. College baseball, baby. People are talking about it. Right. I mean, people are talking about it. So,
yeah.
What a weekend. Blake, I want to get off the college baseball stuff, move to college football. The news dump of all news dumps happened on Friday night, Super Regional Friday. And, I've talked to you a lot about, like, I think the offseason's pretty deplorable now when it comes to college football. None of the storylines are really all that fun or just they're not fun to talk about, right? It's all like changes to the game or it's NIL or it's portal. But we talked about this. You reached out to me and said, Chris, you need to care. So I'm going to give you the floor here. I'm going to put my fan hat on. The House settlement case came through on Friday. The private equity stuff is starting to happen, which I know you've talked about.
Yeah, and Penn State and UCLA denied that, so I'm going to hold it.
Okay. Yeah, okay. We can hold off on that then. We can hold off on that. That's coming down the road. It seems that way.
So since they denied it, I'm going to stay out of it because, it is what it is. The
House settlement, yes. I'm putting my fan hat on.
Okay.
You tell me as a fan of college football why – because I think a lot of college football fans feel like, Blake, I have no control over this. So why should it bother me? Why should it strike a chord with me? Why should I care? What do people from what you've seen, read, digested, why as a college football fan should this either concern me or just be of great concern to me with this house settlement case? What's it mean for me?
Well, because number one, it's being labeled as football because football people are reporting it, and it's more to do with every other sport besides football. Like, for an example, so the house settlement case going through benefits or makes the universities pay players an allotted $20.5 million. Now, schools can pay whatever sport they want majority share. So, for example, does North Carolina pay their basketball team more than their football team? They don't have to choose which ones that they have to do that.
How about Kentucky in that scenario?
Well, Kentucky is also in that scenario, and they have a big decision that they have to make. Do some of these teams pay women's basketball, or do they pay college baseball? So with this $20.5 million, could you allocate? Can you divvy it up any percentage any way you want? Yes, you can.
So you could technically give 100% to football and say to hell with everybody else.
Yes, you could.
Interesting.
But you could give 100% to basketball. See, what's happened here is this, is that everybody has labeled it as football because football media is the ones reporting it. So they're tagging
because it most greatly impacts football for the most part, correct?
For the most part, it will affect football because they're generating the most revenue. Most schools are going to do a 70, 10 to 15 with basketball, 5-5-5 model, where they're giving the majority of it to football, and then everybody else divvies up the rest based off of what their market is deeming for them. With that being said, the house settlement case basically is, as of right now, and by the way, we have a new commissioner in college sports, which people are kind of missing over, and they generated the College Sports Commission where you got to put all of your new NIL deals, not existing, new NIL deals in a thing that's called NIL Go. So, Chris, if a
clearinghouse, correct?
A clearinghouse.
Any deal over $600
a year, not a month,
which is essentially all of them. Like, it's all of them.
Well, yeah.
I mean, who's only getting $600 a year?
Well, it's based off your federal tax income.
Okay.
So the federal taxes. So if you pay employees over $600, then you got to put them on the taxes. Hold on one second. Sorry, my wife is calling me, and it's I have no on show. What's up? So anyway, you got to go through a clearinghouse, and in that clearinghouse, you have to prove that you're going to do the things that you say. The interesting part in that, the CEO and Brian Seeley, who is now going to be the CEO, was the VP of investigations for Major League Baseball, who ran the Houston Astros investigation when they cheated in the World Series. How did that go again? Did
they even get punishment?
They got a couple of draft picks and a couple of guys got suspended.
Nothing really
truthfully
no asterisk, no taking away of a trophy, nothing.
None of that. Alex Cora for Boston got suspended for a year, and they thought that was a big deal. Well, guess what? Alex Cora's back, which, by the way, they haven't won a World Series since because Boston Red Sox, disgusting. Regardless of that, the house settlement case is the first time in it going through that universities are able to pay players out of their own pockets. Okay? That is what it is. And the reason it's so significant is the NIL clearinghouse stops, at least they think it's going to stop, a situation where it's the wild, wild west, and collective's going to give money, and we're going to give a player X, and they don't have to do anything for it, right? That's what they're saying, that this is what it's supposed to prevent. There are holes here. There are some massive holes that how can you dictate someone's name, image, and likeness? For an example, the Major League Baseball has a collective bargaining agreement, but they couldn't stop Paul Skeens from making $5 million on being on the cover of GQ. They can't stop that. So my question becomes, they went out to this company named Deloitte, who I have had massive issues with in my humble past, with people of Deloitte. They're saying that they can and can't dictate fair market value. So I don't really know how all of this is going to go. I think there's going to be a lot of bumpy roads, but there comes a part in time where it's a big deal because it does affect women's basketball. Chris, it affects track and field. But here's the biggest thing that it affects. How does it affect Title IX? Because you're supposed to give equal equality from scholarships across the board, and these universities are taking a $20 million pay cut. So it's going to be very interesting to see, Chris, with all due respect to women's athletics and some men's athletics, why do I have to give the same number of scholarships or a fair market value of scholarships to men's golf than I do football? And I think that the reason that this affects football more than anything and why people don't care but should, Chris, football funded everybody's shit for so long, and now they're getting theirs, and you're pissed off about it? You're pissed off about it because, Chris, how many times do women's basketball get funded by football? When you're
every year. Every year.
When you're in the red, how many times were there the reasons that they funded you? Why does Dawn Staley, Kim Mulkey, or any of them, and I'm using them as an example, and it's not fair to use them as an example, but why should they have to do that? So it's a big deal because a collective right now, at least what we anticipate, can't just give a kid $1 million, or what they're trying to prevent is the Bryce Underwood situation or the Nico Iamaleava situation. And I will tell you this, everybody points the big bad finger at football. Did you see what Florida did in men's basketball this offseason? They have a guy with a shoe deal going to make $6 million. $6 million. And you're trying to yell at me that football is a problem? Get out of my godforsaken face with that shit. So I think that it's been labeled a football problem when, in all honesty, it's not a football thing. It affects it probably the most because they get paid the most. But let's not act. It does affect every single thing that happens in college athletics from this point forward.
Blake, you're tied in deep in the collective space. At least you do work with collectives in Baton Rouge, and so you would probably know. You definitely would know much better than I. How is it going to affect the collectives? Are collectives eventually going to die out? Are they going to continue to operate as normal, just adjusted to the new format? Like, what does it mean for? Because essentially, correct me if I'm wrong, are we slowly moving away from fan funding college rosters, or is that? Do you think that ever goes away? Like because in my mind, I'm like, okay, if every SEC school is getting $20 million or thereabouts, about the same, why are schools not just going to keep? Hey, we're all kind of even, so we still got to go get more, do more, give more to get the like. I don't feel like it's ever. I mean, and probably it's unrealistic to think like it's ever going to go away where schools stop trying to get the advantage on the other guy. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, they are. But here's the thing that I argue with Joe about, and he disagrees with me. Can you dictate fair market value? How do you dictate my value? Well, they said it's going to be based off of things that happened in the past. What do you mean things that happened in the past? There is no past. And then in the past, you made this ordeal based off of not being in the past. So, Chris, I got to be honest with you. Here's the underlying thing for me. I don't know. I have my concerns, but here's the truth. I don't know. I have no clue. I have people trying to sell me on this, and I think it's going to be the same old, really and truthfully. But here's the thing, too, that I think that where you're going down, but it's in a different light. If I wanted to give all of that $20 million to one player, technically there's nothing legally that says that I can't. So if I wanted to give a player $3 million and a quarterback $3 million to come here, there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. There's nothing. Hey,
that $20 million is yours to do whatever you want with once you
yes. I mean, they're not going to do that. But if I say, hey, the starting quarterback at Tennessee, Ole Miss, LSU, Bama, whatever, is worth $3 million, and the day that you become that starter, the real actual starter, then we give you X, then Chris, there's nothing they can do with it. By the way, we're not even talking about NIL.
If they're not going to do that, then Blake, is everybody you think on a football roster they're going to just divvy that up equally to everyone? I feel like that caused more problems.
They're not going to divvy that up equally. They're not going to do that.
I mean, that would cause more problems, obviously. So.
Well, it makes young men grow up quickly and stop pocket watching. Mm-hmm. Which,
I guess you talk about fair market value. I feel like it's like, yeah, you're right. How do you determine somebody's fair market value? Because you ask the question, what are you worth? You're worth what somebody's willing to pay you. I mean,
exactly.
It's a very loosely defined thing.
Well, here's the problem. If they deny it the first time, it goes to the CEO, and he has the approval to approve or deny. If he denies it, then it goes to arbitration, which everybody hears arbitration and they think Major League Baseball. It's not that level of arbitration because that's roster limitations. That's roster salary limitations. This is name, image, and likeness where a business wants to pay you X based off of where you're going. And Chris, I've said this 100,000 times. Nico Iamaleava changed the game. He changed the game in the sense of we have a federal court case that says that a high school athlete, a federal mandate that says a high school player can talk to businesses at certain schools that are around certain schools to dictate what they are going to make. So how do you clear that? And by the way, they got 45 days to go to court. What I think is going to happen is this. I think somebody's going to get denied 2 times through the clearinghouse. They're going to go to court. They're going to lose, and we're back at square one because guess what? Nothing you can do about it. And here's another thing. You're going to have to give the clearinghouse time because they're going to investigate these deals. And if a kid's not posting on social media, if a kid's not doing what he's in his contract he said he was going to do, then they can pop a school. Then they can pop a player. So you got to grow up quickly. Some of these players had no idea. When I texted our guys, because we had 6 deals, now we have 4 because of just certain situations. I texted them and been like, you need to make sure that you don't have to do this. I'm pretty sure you don't, but any deals moving forward, you got to do this. And they had no clue. They had 0 clue about it. They're going to have to give people grace in the beginning. Yeah. If you want to come in there swinging and hitting kids, then you're a buffoon. And I don't trust the guy who got the CEO job. Chris, the Astros were banging on trash cans and they stole signs illegally and nothing happened. And they hired the guy and investigated it.
That came against your Yankees too. You don't hit a Aroldis Chapman like that unless you know what's coming.
How about this? Clayton Kershaw had a 45% whiff rate on his slider. They didn't swing at one slider in the World Series that was for a ball. It was game 2 or 3, I think, that they didn't swing at it. Remember when Altuve hit the walk-off and guys ripped the jerseys off of players when they do it? Mm-hmm. He refused for them to do it because he was wearing the device. And then he ratted on everybody, by the way. He ratted. Rat.
Him and Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Yeah.
Rats.
Well, everybody ratted on everybody because they got immunity. They got immunity.
So this feels like it's funny because like the House settlement was supposed to feel like an answer, but it feels like this is still just kind of the beginning.
Oh, it's just the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, the $20.5 million is going to be different when conferences get bigger deals because it's TV revenue share. So the ACC, the SEC, and the SEC and Big Ten are going to it could separate some things. Because, Chris, let me ask this question. Can UCF fund the same amount of TV revenue money that Florida can?
No. Goes without saying.
Okay. I'm telling you, Y'all open up a can of worms that y'all don't realize. But here's the truth. We play sports to find out who the fuck isn't equal. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Welcome to reality. We're in the era, I told you this earlier, we're in the era of equality. You just ended it.
You mentioned it like Title IX, and I do wonder, football will be fine. I wonder what it means for the non-revenue generating sports.
Bye-bye.
If you're gonna operate it as a business, you might keep a few, but a lot of them will be gone.
They don't have a choice. They're going to have to alter Title IX, which, as someone who has a daughter and wants to see her succeed in anything that she does, I also understand that I'm not going to let somebody else pay for her stuff when she didn't work for it. That's not how life works. You want your daughter to do everything that she can, and I want every successful thing to come to my beautiful, amazing daughter. But there also comes a time that, what if my son is on the football team and money that he makes is going to somebody else who doesn't deserve it? How many of you like paying taxes? Guess what? The wealthy pay taxes that go to people who don't have jobs so that they can feed themselves. And you don't like that either. So what's the difference here? Someone explain to me what the difference is. And I'm not saying, look, I came from a one-parent household. There were a lot of times where my mom scratched and clawed. And look, Chris, when we got hit by Hurricane Katrina, she had to go on food stamps. And I don't think she would hate for me to say that, but it's the truth. It is the truth. So it comes down to a point where, should the billionaire have to take care of me now? I'm not his son. You didn't create me. That's the part where I think everybody gets so gung-ho. Again, everybody wants equality. There's no such thing as equality outside of being humans. Everything that we do is to compete. We do to work. There's no equality outside of, we're all in the same image of God. But when we play a sport and we have fun, God created sports for what? For what?
To separate.
To separate. It's beyond me. So I want to make this a very big emphasis. Just because football people are reporting it and it's the biggest thing for football, Chris, I got to be honest. They deserve it. They deserve, because these billion-dollar TV deals are coming on the backs of football. By the way, just throwing this out there. You do realize that the SEC is going to make $65 million this year per school, and they're only giving them 20 of it. Where does that other $40 million go? So you're complaining to me about paying players money. Well, you get 60% of it. I mean, am I mean, right?
No, that's right. No.
So you can complain. You went 2 decades of making TV revenue in the billions, billions, and now you're complaining that you got to pay kids. Sorry, I have no sympathy for them whatsoever. I really don't. I know one thing, Ben Ruffino, I tell you this, we're quitting baseball. we're quitting baseball. I'm just joking.
Moving his ass out the left tackle.
You better get some quick feet, Carl.
Blake, this is a good segue into this in closing. We'll put a pin in it after this. Things continue to change with college athletics, college football specifically. And I'm really curious your take on this. And I love college football too, but you know, like you said, college football is your thing. You played it. Like, you have a deep-rooted love for football and college football. Cole Kublik posted this on Twitter. Got a lot of reaction. Curious your thoughts when he said, what would it take for you to stop watching college football?
No, I did see that. Death.
So there's no changes that could get you out.
No. Not there.
I agree with you, because at the end of the day, as deplorable as the offseason is, which, you know, There's pros and cons. I think the pro is that, again, people are more invested in college basketball and college baseball, and I think that's a big reason for the uptick. And, I mean, you see, again, like we were talking about, like, you remember we were talking to, like, Chris, it's late February, early March, you're getting 1 million views on a baseball post. That was unheard of 3 years ago.
I couldn't even go into the state of Texas, and that's my neighbor.
Right. This, with as deplorable or unlikable or just whatever, as much fun has been sucked out of the offseason, Saturdays in the fall are still Saturdays in the fall. It would take a lot to.
Well, Chris, it's the number one sport in America. I mean, with all due respect.
Mm-hmm. It is. It is. I mean, Blake, you see every year they drop like the top 50 most watched events on television, and like 46 of them are the NFL.
Mm-hmm. And the other, and like 10 of them are in between college football. Like the national championship game got 20 million views, Chris.
Yeah.
You know, like LSU and Ole Miss got 7.5 million views, brother.
Yeah.
You know, like I mean, people say that they're not going to watch you. So full of shit. You're so full of shit. You're going to watch.
It's easy to say that in June, but when it comes back to August, you'll be ready.
Yeah, death for me. Death.
Yeah.
I mean, is there something that they could do clearly, but they're not going to do that? There's too much money to be made.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, 27 million people watch the Super Bowl. Hold on. That wasn't the peak. The peak was 43 million. That was the average people watching the Super Bowl in a blowout year.
Yeah. At the end of the day, football, and I think this is one of the things that helps it, Blake, it will forever be the sport of the water cooler, if you will. It's always going to be, there's always going to be Monday morning quarterback. People love to talk about it. They love to hear about it. I mean, it's why, again, if you're in this space, certainly I can speak for you and I, and we love college baseball, but from August to January, February, brother, it hits different. It hits different. I mean, and it's people love it. They can't get enough of it during the season. Can't get enough of it.
Think about this. Hold on. LSU's heading to Omaha. Last night I talked for 55 minutes and 25 seconds about baseball. As soon as I flipped the script to talk about LSU's staff shakeups, I had 175 more people join the show as soon as I started talking football.
It is interesting, too. I'm sure you find it interesting that we talk about like the core diehard college baseball fan base, which is awesome. It is interesting to me. There is nothing, this isn't like it just is what it is, right? There is a faction of folks that they genuinely really only consume their media, sports media, during the football season. Like they really only, and I get it, right? There's other stuff going on in life. People have, again, families, jobs, hobbies, they travel, whatever. But it is interesting how, like, you get to August, you can expect your numbers are going to triple, if not quadruple, because people just come out in droves. It's football time, baby. It's football time.
August the 1st, when we start going to practices, my numbers will triple. Basically, when I took this full time, not this past January, so I've been in this full time for a year and a half. I quickly realized that I got to survive from January to August. Basically, right? Mm-hmm. Like I got to just survive.
It's the off season, quote unquote.
Basically, for me, yes. Mm-hmm. Now I do a full-time college football show in that when I say survive. But Chris, from just one show specifically, from August to January the 30th, I will make 2/3 of what I make.
Yeah.
Unless LSU goes on a run to Omaha, baby. Here we go. Here we go, baby. Let's go, Jay. Let's go. Then if that happens, then hold on. Well, I've showed you this before. Like, hold on. I can't take it out of the case, though.
Yeah, I think I know I haven't seen this up close and personal, though, I don't think.
Paul Skeens, Dylan Cruz, signed helmet.
That's a crazy piece, bro. That's a crazy piece.
You know, I had somebody.
Well done.
Well,
somebody offered to buy it off you?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
Oh, do you want to know what I offered him?
10,000.
Oh, buddy, no.
Way more.
Oh, 10 million. He $10 million.
Let me ask you this, for real, what would be the number?
$10 million.
10 million. Come on.
All right. If somebody offered like $100,000, I'm sure I'd do it.
You'd at least think about it.
I'd think about it, but no, you got to come with it.
You got to come correct.
Hold on. I know you probably can't see this very well, but it is what it is.
Oh, man.
My man Tommy Tank, your boy Ben Ruffino.
He signed that for Ben, right?
I can't hear you.
That is an incredible piece.
Oh, Tommy Tanks, baby.
Yeah, that's an incredible piece. Oh, that's awesome. Legends of LSU, plenty of them.
So basically, all I'm saying is, Jay Johnson, don't screw this up for me. But I'll tell you this. I've been blessed. The 2019 run in football and then the 2023 run in baseball. I mean, holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. How to do it. That'll do it. That'll do it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Hopefully the Tigers will another run. I mean, listen,
I love pulled pork. Let's go, baby.
I'm about to say there might be some Arkansas folks tuned in, so I don't want to listen. I hope both teams have fun Saturday night.
You're such an asshole. He's rooting for if you don't root for LSU, then your Couillon car is getting taken.
Y'all gonna put me in a really interesting predicament.
But I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I'm just fingers crossed. I will say this, Blake. We're actually 24 hours from now, I'll be on the road to Omaha, Nebraska. Can't wait to get out there. College World Series is one of the coolest, if not the coolest event. I'd probably say it's the coolest event I've ever covered, attended, especially as like being
I've been to a national championship game in New Orleans with LSU. That's a different being.
I haven't been to something like that, but the College World Series is a really, really cool event. And like I told you, top of the show, I'm so excited to go with now. I mean, dude, 8 teams, literally 8 teams we didn't have in it last year. First time since 1957, nobody from the previous years back. But to go with LSU and Arkansas there, I can't wait to see it.
Me too.
There's going to be frozen daiquiris and
boudin
and pastelaya and maybe probably some crawfish boiled.
Pulled pork, barbecue from Arkansas people. Mercer leads the Jello shot thing right now.
Murray State, yeah. Does LSU break their own record?
They got to go on a. They got to go on a run.
68,000.
They got to go on a run. Nobody was more happy about them going back to Omaha than Rocco's. Nobody.
Oh God, dude. Oh, they were giddy. They were so giddy.
Very.
Who do you think finishes last?
Murray State.
All right. Who's second to last then?
Oregon State.
Oregon State. See, I'd go UCLA.
Oh.
I don't know if they're really built like that.
Maybe you're right.
It'll be LSU, Arkansas.
Big boosters that if they, big boosters get involved, who knows? UCLA got money now.
I think it'll be LSU, Arkansas, and then a gap.
Then probably everybody wants to get out of LA right now. Not trying to be political.
Right. No, yeah. Very true. It's going to be fun, Blake. My only hope is LSU goes on a deep enough run to where Blake Ruffino's hand is forced to come to Omaha. I know you got to do the post-game stuff. You want to do it at our spot, you're welcome to do it. We got a hotel. You're welcome to do it. But damn it, the Bayou's prodigal son needs needs to come to Omaha. Again, I don't blame you because again,
last time I went to an LSU sporting event, they lost.
That is true, and you were with me too. So I remember you said, and I quote, "I'm never coming back."
I'm not.
I think the quote was, "You'll never see my fat ass in here again."
That's exactly what I said. Even though, by the way, you boys down another 20.
Nice, dude. Congrats. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Had a boy.
These male titties. You can't call me.
I bet you're feeling great, man. I bet you're feeling.
Oh, I feel so good.
When you compare to like how you felt a year ago, I bet you're just floating on air, man.
Oh, dude. It's insane. It's insane.
Talk about quick feet.
Oh, buddy can move. Buddy can move. I ain't been 230 since kindergarten.
Dude, you're going on like the Taylor Lewan diet where you're going to be like a shredded former offensive. It's interesting, like offensive linemen, once they get done playing football, they either like obviously just stay what they were or they just get ripped. Like they just
I want to get where I show up to the party with a tank top on and my triceps are like, God damn.
Go from the O lineman to the bodyguard.
Yeah. Well, you know, when you get married and your wife's like, "You looking good," I'm like, "Shake that ass, girl. Let me see what you got." You know.
Gosh, dude,
Can
Omaha.
Couillons throw that thing back? That's the real question. Chris, you got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay, we just had a power surge.
Oh, I see it again.
That might be the cue of the Lord. That might be the cue. We need to go.
Yeah, that might be the cue. Blake, really good stuff, man. A lot of fun. Again, can't wait to do this again next week from Omaha. We'll have to plan around that, but we got to get it in. I think it'd be electric to do it live on location in Omaha next Tuesday. Really good stuff. To all the Couillons that I know are tuned in, I hope to see you out there. Make sure you're obviously tuning in to Blake. You already know the drill at this point. I'm sure you'll be live after every single game. Saturday night's going to be electric. The entire College World Series. Really, really excited for it, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. This show is always great, too, and always exciting. And appreciate you, my man. It's always a good time. So
thanks for having me, brother.
Yeah, guys, before we get out of here, I mentioned earlier in the show, top of the show, our friends at FanDuel have odds for College World Series winner. They will have odds for each and every single individual game. So make sure, guys, you head over to FanDuel. The wait is over. Baseball season's finally here. You can start the season strong on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now FanDuel is celebrating the return of baseball by giving new customers $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. FanDuel's got so many ways for you to get in on the action, from hits to steals to home runs. They've got a lineup filled with all your favorite bets, or if pitching's more your thing, FanDuel has a deep bullpen of bets from strikeouts to shutout innings. When you place your first bet, it can be on almost anything, and if it hits, you'll get $250 in bonus bets. Funny enough, Blake, you know this. I'll say it. I have got a futures bet that I placed way back in early February. LSU plus 800 to win the College World Series. So we'll see if it cashes. Either way, no matter what you're betting on, individual games, the College World Series winner as a whole, we're going to be placing our bets, throwing them around. Just make sure you visit FanDuel.com/SECU to join today. That's FanDuel.com/SECU. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official partners of Major League Baseball and official partners of SEC Unfiltered. Blake, it's always a pleasure, man. Really appreciate you. Make sure you guys follow Blake Ruffino, follow me, Chris Phillips. Make sure you follow along with SEC Unfiltered. Hit like, hit subscribe. Like I mentioned, follow on social media. Check us out via podcast. Check us out on our website, secunfiltered.com. Make sure you check out Ruffino and Joe Show, the great work they're doing at AYS Sports, what Blake is doing, me at CPhilly19. And again, follow SEC Unfiltered. Content bleeding out of the eyeballs throughout the next 2 weeks when we are boots on the ground in Omaha. And shamelessly, I'll plug this as well. 3 live on location shows, Blake, in Omaha. Thursday, we're at Omaha Baseball Village with our good friends Chinook Ceadery and USA Baseball at their booth, 11 to 1. Monday, same time slot, 11 to 1. We will be at Rocco's, which I'm ecstatic for. That is going to be an electric show. Cannot wait. Come out to Rocco's, take some Jello shots with us. And then Wednesday of next week, so just over a week from today, Blatt's right across the street from the stadium. Same thing, 11 to 1, talking all the baseball. And hopefully by that Wednesday show, if we don't have one of them locked up, we're on the verge of having an SEC team locked up in the finals. So Going to be a fun one. Blake, you're the man. Appreciate you doing this, guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, appreciate each and every single one of you. This is To Your Point, episode 9, officially in the books. Y'all take care. We will catch you all on the other side. Cheers.